go. That you know what that news item transitions perfectly into our roundtable discussion for this level. As you guys know, roundtable is a singular topic of discussion that we discuss, and we have to discuss the biggest news to hit gaming since about
Forever.
last year. Last year. I mean, because even though Take Two paid more for Zynga, nobody really cares about Take Two or Zynga. But it's about Microsoft Xbox has purchased Activision Blizzard for around $68.7 billion. If you don't round that up, that's $70 billion with a B. Absolute monster deal that I don't know if anyone saw coming. We know that Activision Blizzard has been a dumpster fire for the past year, and Xbox said, "Hey, come here, little fire. We want to buy you for some cash and all your games and all your IPs." So with this purchase, Microsoft brings in a bunch of different studios. Obviously, it's bringing in Blizzard Entertainment. It's bringing in, Infinity Ward. It's bringing in, I mean, who else is it bringing? Like, it's just so many people.
Probably Treyarch.
Yeah, Treyarch.
Bringing in King.
Candy Crush.
Candy Crush. Sledgehammer.
Yeah. So like Infinity Ward, Treyarch, Sledgehammer. Those are all the dev studios that usually do the Call of Duty stuff.
Yeah.
Bob makes games.
Yep, them too. Yeah, just a bunch of studios, a bunch of IPs. Obviously, Microsoft now owns Overwatch. It now owns Call of Duty.
Diablo.
Now owns Diablo.
World of Warcraft.
It now owns World of Warcraft. Yes.
They own both of Sony's first mascots, Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon.
Yes.
The first, these are Sony mascots. They own both of them now.
They own both of them. Yeah. It is an absolute crazy acquisition. And then obviously just going through some things that Phil Spencer has said. Besides the fact that we forgot StarCraft, the other major IP that no one really cares about. But he's also hinted to the idea of bringing back some previous IPs, Guitar Hero being one.
Yeah, smart choice.
Yeah, I've actually seen a lot of people asking for that lately.
Can we get the Lost Vikings?
Maybe.
I mean, is that the one with the 3 Vikings?
Yeah. It was a little bit of a puzzle game. You controlled all 3. Can we get that back?
They own that?
Blizzard does, yeah.
Blizzard? Oh my god, I haven't played that in forever.
Yeah, they put that on a compilation just last year. But go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah, it's all those things, and it's absolutely insane. Now, you had mentioned before that they now own 2 of PlayStation's mascots.
Yes,
with Spyro and Crash. Phil had put out a tweet saying that he had a really good discussion with Sony leaders about their intent. They have good intent regarding those characters and different stuff like that. Sony released a quote. They released a statement. Part of their statement was to the Wall Street Journal that says, "We expect that Microsoft will abide by contractual agreements and continue to ensure Activision games are multi-platform."
For how long?
Right. They said an example they use is that when they acquired Bethesda, they still released Deathloop and have Ghostwire Tokyo set as PS5 exclusives. So they abided by that. But that to me was too close to the acquisition for them to really affect it.
Right.
So the big thing is, well, first I want to get your guys' impressions of it.
Okay.
And then we can talk through what we think some of the collateral damage may be. What do we think this represents for gaming? Our general feelings on it. So guys, take it away. What was your reaction to hearing this?
Go ahead, David.
Okay, so I was thinking about it. Now we know Activision Blizzard has been a crap show a lot lately for a lot of the main reasons we've seen with other companies. And I was thinking about it. I haven't really seen or heard of these allegations and stuff at Microsoft. So I'm thinking, hopefully, there's always stuff we don't hear, but them buying this, they get rid of the people that were a problem or are a problem at Activision Blizzard, and the people that are still working there are, hopefully maybe some can come back. We'll have a better work environment.
Hmm.
That was the biggest thing I was thinking of. And then as for like being on the PlayStation and stuff, still I did find a tweet from, what is his name, Phil?
Yep, Phil
Mhm.
Spencer.
Right. He said they're going to keep, Call of Duty and stuff on the PlayStation, stuff like that, like you said, for, Deathloop and stuff, which I think is a good idea. There's just some games that just should be for everybody, whether it's
Mhm.
owned by Microsoft or Sony. Either way, like, I don't think Call of Duty only being on Xbox is a good idea.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give my initial opinions, and we can go back to the
yeah,
exclusivity of Call
go
of Duty.
ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
First off, I mean, 70 billion. It's like a weird. It's a crazy number.
It's an
It's like play
unfathomable
money. It's
amount of money.
unfathomable. At some point, it really doesn't matter whether it's 7 billion or 12 billion or 70 billion. It's all more money than we'll ever have. Obviously, a huge purchase. Blizzard. It's just crazy. At the end of the day, though, I feel like the Bethesda purchase was probably more impactful for straight up gamers, because I think they have a much better catalog of games and franchises. Now, that's kind of debatable, but I think the Skyrims and the Fallouts of the world are higher tier than, let's say, Diablo and World of Warcraft. But that's my own opinion. But still, a fantastic purchase. We talk about Call of Duty. That's the biggest franchise out of any of these. And it's going to be a real question for the next couple of years. Is it going to come out on Sony? Because the next one's probably already written in stone. That's coming out to PlayStation next year, whatever it is. So will the one after that be exclusive or not?
Because they did say they would
Honor
stay with
contracts.
honor contracts.
Right.
So when those contracts are over,
Right. What
are
will they
gonna
do? And how long are those contracts for? Because Call of Duty was in with Sony for a lot. They were doing the early DLC for Sony.
Right.
Mhm.
They had like
So,
exclusive stuff for Sony.
yep. I don't know about you guys. David, you made your point kind of like what you said. I would make Call of Duty exclusive. Jeremy, are you with me on that?
Well, just still processing this a little bit.
Okay,
right?
okay.
But it's a matter of like it's just a crazy position to be put in. And when you're talking about like the strategy of Call of Duty Xbox exclusive,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm Xbox, but see, this is my bias. I have seen the way that Sony has been navigating winning the previous gen, and they have been unbearable.
Yes.
And so if I'm Xbox and I'm like, ooh, I can make Call of Duty an Xbox exclusive, I would say, hey, Sony, kick rocks. We're gonna make it, we're gonna make it an Xbox exclusive. We're going to make it easy to get digitally. Our next gen console is cheaper than anything you can offer by a good bit.
Mhm.
So if people just want a Call of Duty box, it makes more sense. Now they can only get it there. It already made more sense financially to go through Xbox.
Right.
But now you can only access it through Xbox.
And it'll be on Game Pass.
It'll be on
is-
Game Pass day one, right? Like
Right.
all these, and again, you're talking about something where a lot of these games are creating modes, especially like with Warzone and different stuff like that, where it's almost basically a subscription, right? Like a subscription within
Yes.
one. So you're paying for battle passes, you're paying for DLC that constantly get releases for these different games on top of whatever subscriptions you're paying for access to them, right? This
Mhm.
is to me, it's a huge risk, huge gamble, but it is to me a we're playing chess while you're playing checkers type of move. But just could be one thing that happened when this was announced, right? That we're seeing, and Sony's like, we hope they're a very stoic, unmoved. They're not very pleased with it, but what are they? It's just business, right?
Right.
That move not only does it take away potential money from Sony in the future, it took away money right now.
Yes.
Because it affected their stock so much, they had $20 billion wiped off their stock value when this was announced.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
So it affects them right now. Yeah, it's there's been the news, the rumor that Sony's developing their Game Pass, their own Game Pass competitor. Good job, what you putting on it, you know?
You took a long way to say that Xbox should just bury Sony, and that's what they should do, because that's what Sony was trying to do with Xbox on the PS4. They were trying to bury him, and they did bury him to an extent. And you know what happened from that? Xbox came back with Game Pass. They came back with buying studios. They came back with making high quality games again. Like Halo Infinite is much better than Halo 5 and Halo 4. And the last Gears of War was better. And this Forza is amazing. All of them are amazing, but this one was especially great. And that's what competition leads to. And when Sony's in the front, they really slack off and they kind of just stay by their own like wayside. Like, hey, we're just going to continue to do what we do. No, Xbox is coming for them. They have all the guns pointed at them, and they should make it exclusive. They should make every single one of those things. Diablo 4. Nope, sorry, Sony. Overwatch 2. Nah, sorry, but you can still play them on PC. They have to make Sony respond. And I don't know if they can, honestly. This is such a big hit.
Yeah, it's a different thing though. Like I'm seeing that angle from like the way I don't like the way Sony's been going about their business recently. But as a consumer, I'm not the biggest fan of this, because this is the continuation of an arms race.
Yes.
And so I don't want it to become an arms race where they're going to gobble up studios. So then Sony decides, we got to go ahead and gobble up studios, and do this thing. And then before you know it, there's not a lot of independence within some of the larger publishers or developers. Like that can be an issue. We've already been moving slowly towards indies because it already feels like there's not a lot of independent options out there. I don't want this to be something where Sony says, okay, we'll meet your 70 billion with a 40 billion acquisition of these studios or this company, right? Like I think I read in one article that at one point EA was possibly in the talks of acquiring Activision Blizzard. I hate EA. I don't know if that would have been better. That would have kept things
worse. That would have been worse.
That would have kept things more independent from a slightly like platinum thing, like, or a platform thing, right? Because then I don't have to still worry about those being platform exclusives, right? If it's held by EA, I don't have to worry about Call of Duty becoming a Xbox exclusive. It's still independent of them. But you have all these different things happening. I mean,
when you say you worry about it, though, you buy every system. Now, are you worrying for it for like the average consumer? You're kind of speaking for them.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks for the average consumer, but that's what Xbox wants. They want you to buy an Xbox, and people just aren't. I know it's selling better, but Sony has been on top. Even the Xbox 360, the PS3 eventually outsold it. Mm-hmm. So they have never won a market. They have never won that generation of gaming, not one time. So if you want to win a generation of gaming, you take the 95% of gamers, because we are diehard gamers, us three, and we play a whole bunch of games. And people that listen to us, they are in the know. But I would say 95% of gamers are people that just want to play Call of Duty, Fortnite, Madden, FIFA, and they buy their 3 to 4 games a year and they play those, and that's fine. So once they can't get them on PlayStation anymore, they have to buy the Xbox. And that's what Xbox should be shooting for, because they've never won a generation and they want people in Game Pass. And that Call of Duty will deliver that for you because it's a big enough game.
Yeah, it's just the idea of like, I understand that.
Yeah.
But the major point in the business for so long has always been that these companies don't make money on hardware. They make them on software. Right. So like the idea that, we were talking before about, this is my mic. We were just talking before about how like Sony had to give up MLB The Show to Xbox and different stuff like that. Well, if you're selling cross-platform, right, you can sell more copies. I can ship 10 million copies of the show on Sony, and I can ship maybe 4 or 5 on Xbox. That's just more money I make as a studio, right? So it would seem like from a financial perspective, you're going to always have people that just prefer that Sony PlayStation experience, right? My fear is just that eventually Sony doesn't turn around and say, okay, well, we're going to buy EA for $100 billion. And all the Battlefield games might eventually become PlayStation exclusives, or the Maddens may become PlayStation exclusives. Then it's like, because these systems are released every 5 to 6 to 7 years. So
Right.
if you're a household that can only afford one system, you're just screwed for 3 or 4 or 5 years. You know?
No, I understand. I know where you're coming from. I'm coming from more the big business aspect. But
Yeah.
like you said, the hardware doesn't make them money. And that's 100% true. You know, a lot of times they'll sell hardware for a loss.
Yeah.
But the software, and I think Game Pass would be considered software, correct?
Mm-hmm.
They want you in their ecosystem. And it is so hard to get out of an ecosystem once you're in it. Like it takes a console like the Xbox One to get you to be like, I don't want to play Xbox anymore. And that's what I did. And I went to PlayStation 4 and I bought all my third-party games, all my exclusives. I bought everything on there. And once I started buying stuff on there, it became my go-to system. And even though it's a really tight race between the Series X and the PS5, you know, I think they're both great right now. I buy the majority of my stuff on PlayStation still because that's what I've been doing for the last 8 years. I'm already very much in that ecosystem. So once you get someone over there, it's very hard to let them go. So if you can get people to stop buying PlayStation 5s, even by taking away Call of Duty, then you kind of do it because once they're with Xbox, they're stuck until you make a major mistake.
Right.
But that's just looking at like the Xbox point of view. From your point of view, obviously, it sucks. It sucks when you have to make decisions on a console based on some of the biggest games. Like I don't know which one to go to, especially when there's so much division right now. If you take all these games from Bethesda and Activision and Blizzard and put them on Xbox, and then like you said, Sony has Square Enix and Capcom and EA, it's just going to be like that really sucks for consumers.
Yeah. I mean, you know, what's the one big thing I heard in the past year from a lot of Sony gamers is that, oh, okay, Xbox bought Bethesda. I'm not going to be able to play the next Elder Scrolls when it comes out in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you know. To me, it would make more sense to find a way. Maybe this is the way to do it. If I acquire enough IPs and enough things and force you that, hey, I have the superior platform, maybe my competitors need to make room for my platform somewhere in their ecosystem. There was that whole big rumor about, yeah, you'll be able to play Xbox Game Pass games on your Nintendo Switch. Like, you know,
right.
Like maybe that's what the end game is that we want to have so much that eventually Sony, you're going to have to put Game Pass on a PlayStation. Now, I don't think that would ever happen, but maybe their intent is that they can force their way into some of these areas they want to get people caught in their ecosystem.
So how do you think Sony responds? Because they've kind of have to do something, right?
Yeah. I think they're going to give a half-hearted response. I think they'll buy some studio or a few smaller publishers, and yeah.
The only issue is Sony doesn't have that type of money. They have money. They're billion-dollar company for sure, but they don't have.
No,
I don't think they can spend $70 billion on that. I don't know.
Except for like maybe their films department now, thanks to Spider-Man.
Yeah,
all the other parts of their businesses are losing money. Yeah.
So like what? I don't know what they can do. I feel like they just got to really show their exclusives and they got to come out with that Game Pass thing. They got to try to get on Xbox's level a little bit.
And yeah, and like, I know I haven't bought a Sony since like ever really. I have a PS3, but that was, you know, refurbished and everything, so I didn't give them any of my money, and I bought used games. But Sony does need to do something because despite not really caring about them, if Xbox just takes over, then it's monopolized and they're just going to do whatever they want and they can get away with it. Sony needs to keep a competitive scene here and needs to have their own fan base. And I don't like where this is going. And all you said, all these companies are being bought by Microsoft, being bought by Sony. It's just going to be the big three in gaming. I mean, as it kind of always has been, but
right.
It's going to get bad. We need independence.
I'm not worried about that too much because inevitably what happens is these people leave those companies and they start their own companies. You know, hey, former head of Call of Duty or former, you know, Overwatch lead or former Diablo lead has made their own studio. And this is what happens. They make new studios with new IPs. Xbox controls these old ones and they'll make games for it, but you'll get new IPs. You'll keep getting games and people will keep making companies. You know, I'm not too worried about that, but I understand your point.
Yeah, but like those new studios, and no offense, those new studios make games like Astroneer.
Destiny is great.
It is a great game, but it's a small game. And
It takes a while to build up.
It's a larger game. It's a small, larger game. Or those companies, they go apart and they make No Man's Sky. Like, you know,
like not every company is, you know, like Respawn. They made Titanfall right off the bat.
Right. And they had that independence, and then something later happens. Or, you know, Ninja Theory with Hellblade, right? Like being able to navigate those things where it's like, you know, Hellblade's is a console exclusive now. Like, you know, if it's, you know, the same thing with like any other, you know, eventually if EA, I mean, I feel like EA may end up getting bought up possibly if this is what an arms race becomes. And it's going to be these two because this isn't in Nintendo's playbook as far as strategy.
No, they don't care.
So
they have Mario and Zelda. What are they going to do?
Yeah, they don't have to do any of this. They own like the top 10 most popular IPs in gaming. So they don't.
I mean, they lived for years without third-party support. They can do it if they want. So
yeah. I don't know. At one point, it's Sony getting their comeuppance, which I like. I enjoy that. But on the other hand, this feels like people are like really like trying to gobble up all the nukes for a war, and I don't like that. I just want to play my games.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to play my games. If I choose that, hey, this game I want to play on my PlayStation compared to my Xbox, then I just want to have the autonomy to be able to do that. I understand from a business standpoint when you can only play it here on Xbox, and it's like, okay, but what if it's lame? What if the DualSense could do something a lot more interesting and innovative with this game? Then I'm deprived that because you want to make me use your platform, and I have no choice in the matter other than to not give you my money. But that still doesn't mean anything really in the long end. So.
That's sometimes doesn't always work. Like all these exclusives on PlayStation and like Xbox, like I don't care. I'm not gonna buy your system either way.
Yeah.
Sure, you can have that game. I just won't play it.
I just want to also say this. If they're coming out with this freaking Game Pass competitor, if they don't freaking, like, I don't know, cut their own belly and spill all of that with just the PlayStation 2 library on this thing. Because they're also just sitting on potentially, people would love to go back and play PlayStation 2 games. Love to.
For sure.
And having somewhere to host that where they can just stream it or download and play it super easy, they need to stop they need to start giving it up a little more. They need to give more. You know, Microsoft has positioned itself already, but even more so now as the best value in gaming. And PlayStation can't keep trying to hold itself at a premium to a level where it's no longer competitive. Like they have to do something. Besides just say, oh no, for Horizon, God of War. Like, okay, cool, but like we need more value than that, you know.
Not everyone's gonna like those games.
Yeah,
those other people need something else.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair. I think they do have a great first party, Sony, but they definitely need to follow the competition and hit us with a Game Pass equivalent that, like you said, Jeremy, is, hey, here's the history of the PlayStation. Our entire library is up there for you. You can play every game that PlayStation has ever made. You know, PS2, PS1, PS3, PSP.
And like part of the reason I'm saying give us the old games is because I know Sony's thought process. They're not going to go the Xbox route and put day one new releases on there.
No, never.
They're not going to put, you know, if like, for example, they're not going to put God of War Ragnarok on PS Now. What? Like, no, they're not going to do that. So you got to give
such good value.
It'd be a tremendous value. Yeah.
I would have PlayStation Game Pass for sure.
Yeah.
You know how many hours people are going to put into those older games? And a lot of people don't have a lot of free time. So that's going to take months and months for them to put the hours into what they want. And, you know, $15 a pop a month, that's an extra, you know, $1 billion a year based off, I don't know, 1 million people or whatever that get it for that year. Like, it's still a profit for them.
Yeah. But they would, they're going to make so much money with that anyway. So they're going to make a ton of money. I'm just hoping they do it to where it's a lot more obvious what the value is. But I mean, you know, I don't know how many, if there's 2 or 3 million PS5s out there, I would expect an attachment rate super high, especially if they combine it with PS Plus and everything.
Yeah, kind of jump into Xbox. And probably my final thought is, like you said, Game Pass, best value in gaming. Game Pass now will have every Microsoft-made game ever, every Bethesda-made game ever, every Activision game, every Blizzard game, every EA game, because it's EA Play, and those are just 5 of the biggest companies, and it's all $10 a month to play any game from their history, and every new game that comes out except for EA, they kind of delay theirs. So
they eventually get there.
They do, and it's not even that
Right?
long. It's a couple
It's
months,
not.
a couple
Like,
months.
what is
So
it? Mass Effect trilogy, just came on there. What is that, like 6-8 months maybe? Yeah.
And all their 4 companies are going to have them day one. I know Activision and Blizzard aren't there yet, because it's not official for like another year probably. But yeah, just incredible to be able to pay $10 a month and do that.
Yeah. It's it is incredible, and it is incredible stuff happening. But yeah, that was tremendously big news.
Yeah, this is
David,
a big
did you have
shift.
any? Yeah, did you have any other final thoughts you want to offer on it?
That's pretty much it. This is a big change, and I even if it is Activision, kind of getting rid of them, it's still a little scary.
Yeah. I will say that the one gripe I did have is that I know also in the news with that purchase is that their CEO Bobby Kotick is going to step down.
Yes.
I think that was probably more than likely a condition of the acquisition.
Probably.
I would have liked to see the condition be that he stepped down before they were acquired. Because he
made a lot of money.
He's gonna
made a
pay,
nice
he's getting a payout for it.
Yeah.
And then he'll get a job at like EA or something like that.
Some kind of like
bucks.
Yeah. But there you go. It is what it is. Xbox buying up the world because they can't make good first party games. We now move on to quick